Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. The sun is shining. It's not snowing. It's not raining. It's not blowing. It's a good day. And I am tickled. My chickens actually all got out of the chicken coop yesterday for the first time in over a week. They did not like that white foreign substance out there on the ground. They just refused to walk on it. Now it's gone. And they got out this morning and just went flapping their wings and flying across the pasture. So my chickens are happy. All is good. Our devotional this morning starts with the scripture from the book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 1. They ought always to pray and not lose heart. The title of today's devotional is The Best Do Rest, and it reads, when we think of modern public health crises, insufficient sleep probably doesn't come to mind. But the lack of a good night's sleep is linked to astounding numbers of motor vehicle crashes, industrial disasters, and medical and occupational errors. Feeling sleepy? Can't get to sleep? Besides endangering yourself and others, you're also vulnerable to the disparaging influence of discouragement. Fatigue makes cowards of us all, quipped the great American football coach Vince Lombardi. And I can identify. How many times have you fallen vulnerable to discouragement when you're extremely tired? Even Jesus couldn't work 24/7. Withdrawing to a quiet place, he prayed. Minds and bodies dulled from lack of sleep and constant activity are hindered from radiating God's powerful love. If you're discouraged today, set aside time from your busy schedule and tell God how you feel. Spend time in the Word. Also, get a good night's sleep. When you awake, you'll be refreshed and energized to continue the work you're doing for God. I got to tell you, I used to fall victim to this one a whole lot more than I do nowadays. I'm a to-do list person. You all know that. And I check those things off during the day as I get them to done. And if I do something that wasn't on the list, I'll even write it down so I have something else to check off and show just how much progress I made that day. Well, I have learned through many sleepless nights, staying up, trying to get it all to done, that there are no gremlins or Grinches that are going to come in during the night and do any of it for me. It will still be there the next day. Now, that used to drive me crazy that it would still be there the next day because I hadn't done it. It doesn't drive me crazy anymore. It kind of comforts me to think no gremlins or Grinches are going to come in and do it for me during the night because they'll do it wrong. So I can always pick it up and finish it the next day. Now, I'm still one of those people that I don't go to bed if there's a dirty dish in the sink. Everything has to be pre-washed basically by hand so that it can go in the dishwasher to be washed. I'm one of those people that can't go to bed until I check and make sure the doors are locked and the bars are on the door. Yes, we have bars on our door. They were there before we moved in, but we still take advantage of them. I don't go to bed before I make sure that the dogs have food and water and that they've been out. And, it's kind of like the Fred Flintstone, trying to put the cat out at night. Well, I have to make sure the dogs have been in and out. I have to ask my husband every night, is your phone in and is it charged? Because that's what he uses for his alarm. And I can't begin to tell you the number of times he said, no, I don't know where my phone is. And he's had to go on a search for it. I can't go to bed until I've done those end of day checklists. But my to-do list, my calendar, I have learned that those things will still be there tomorrow for me to finish up if I don't finish them today. I've also learned that days like today, I have an eye appointment this morning to get my diabetic eye exam, and they dilate your eyes. Well, when I get home, I'm not going to be able to see extremely well. So, it might be a great time for a nap. I could sit down and close my eyes for 30 minutes and get up and pick up where I left off yesterday or where I stopped this morning. Rest is something that we all need. Now, I used to get by on 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night, every night. I don't feel like that anymore. I typically get 5, 6 hours of sleep a night. Some days I might even get a little bit more than that. I am not one that sleeps in the morning. I'm not necessarily one that goes to bed early at night. Although I do remember those days when you didn't even start getting ready to go out on a Friday and Saturday night until 10 o'clock. And now at 10 o'clock on a Friday or Saturday night, I'm saying, is it too early to go to bed? Things change. Our bodies change. Our needs change. But the need for rest really never changes. If you read up on what the scientific facts are for rest, children need more rest than we do as adults. They need rest to recharge and refresh and be ready for the next day. My grandma used to say she was so tired she was punch drunk, and I've gotten to where I use that same terminology. I'll get so tired and feel like I'm just stumbling around, and I'll say, I'm just punch drunk. I got to go to bed, or I got to have 15 minutes of sitting down and recover here. There's nothing wrong with resting. There's nothing wrong with sleeping. There's nothing wrong with saying, I am tired. I will finish this tomorrow. Because I can promise you, the gremlins and the Grinches are not going to come in your house and do it tonight either. So rest. Take that time to rest. God created the earth in 6 days and all the things that live in it. And on the seventh day, what did he do? You all know the answer. He rested. And if God can rest, and if Jesus can retire to a quiet place to rest, then we have permission to rest. And that's another thing. I used to feel like I needed permission to rest. People would think I was an awful person if they called and I was asleep. I don't feel that way anymore. I need to rest the same as you all need to rest. We all do. My dad used to sit down in the chair and I'd say, Dad, are you asleep? No, I'm just resting my eyes. Isn't that what half of the world says when they're sitting there with their eyes closed? I'm just resting my eyes. I think the snoring gives them away, but I'm just saying. Rest. The best do rest. One time I said, I made a comment to somebody, you're going to appreciate this one. They said, why don't you ever sit down and rest? And I said, well, the devil never takes a break, so why should I? They looked me square in the eye and said, I think you need a different role model. Devil never rests, but neither does God. So there you have it. The best do rest. God did on the seventh day. Our quote at the bottom is by Charles Spurgeon. I love Charles Spurgeon. Rest time is not waste time. It is economy to gather fresh strength. It is wisdom to take occasional furlough. In the long run, we shall do more by sometimes doing less. Oh, that is so true. You know how when you get so tired, you just seem to stumble and fumble at everything you do? That's when I make mistakes, is when I get overtired. That's when you see a mistake in the bulletin or on the on screen that we're singing to on Sunday morning. Or if I get too tired, that's when I start to make mistakes. That's when I know it's time to hang it up for the day. And we'll pick this up tomorrow where we left off. So today, if you want to get a nap, you have permission. Get a nap. If you want to go to bed before 10 o'clock tonight, before the news comes on, you have permission. Go to bed before 10 o'clock. If you want to sleep in tomorrow and you don't have a boss expecting you to clock in at a certain time, you can sleep in tomorrow. You have permission to rest. In fact, you have direction in the Bible to rest. I pray you all have a wonderfully blessed day today. If there is anything I can do for you, please reach out and let me know. I'm getting ready to go to the eye doctor. I may just come home and rest. I love you all. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.